Yo, yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we call the Clash of the Champions. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the Professor, aka Kurt Cadet in the flesh as always. And my co host, he needs no introduction, but the hell with it. He's going to give y'all one anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is his tag team partner, Jonathan Randall, at your guys' service, the adventurer himself. You could follow our podcast information on both our social media platforms on Instagram at champs.clash and on Twitter at the Champs Clash. Man, Kurt, it's been one rocky week. I know it's been one hell of a week here in Vegas with the Super Bowl here in Vegas, man. The city it's only been Tuesday. And the vibes are high right now, and the vibes are definitely going to be higher in a couple more days. But before we get into all of that, damn, Kurt, we got some unfortunate stuff that we got to talk about.
Yes, some unfortunate stuff we have to talk about. And also, unfortunately, we're going to have to shit very hard on a certain someone we grew up loving as kids. But unfortunately, from what we see right now, it seems like that person we loved as kids is not that same person anymore. So let's jump right into it. Just when we thought things couldn't get any more weird with the Vince McMahon allegations about sex trafficking and misconduct, which we'll actually get into more about later, it got weird Friday night on SmackDown as Roman Reigns came out to gloat about retaining his title at the Royal Rumble. And during his promo, he responded to what Seth Rollins was saying about him the previous Monday on Raw, calling the WWE title the Hollywood title and, calling out the fact that Roman doesn't show up and he always cheats. And Roman's response to this was, everybody who competes for your title is basically people I've already beaten. So your title is basically the losers titles division. And you call yourself the man. And right when he says that, he just starts laughing his ass off. And he just basically says after that, you can't run around here in the last 2 years wearing your wife's clothes and still call yourself the man, which is actually pretty funny, though. I'm not going to lie. That line was funny.
It was, it was. He was named. He was dropping bombs out on that segment, man. So I love that.
He basically says to Cody, you can either go after the title of being the second best in the company or take another crack at number one. It's your choice. And then Cody comes out, gets a nice ovation. The crowd goes crazy for him. And as he comes out, he asks the rest of the bloodline to leave the ring to him and Roman for themselves. And then Cody goes on to say that call that title whatever you want. It is still the title that Bruno Sammartino held. It is still the title that my dad had handed to him in Madison Square Garden, only to have it taken away from him right after. And it's still the belt that I want. And Roman Reigns, I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for that championship, but not at WrestleMania. Which was a very confusing thing for him to say, considering that after he won the Royal Rumble, he pointed right at Roman Reigns after he pointed at the WrestleMania sign. So then Cody goes on to say, the person I've gotten to replace me knows you very well. And then, if you smell, hits from the speakers, and out comes Mr. Hollywood himself, The Rock. And then The Rock comes into the ring, shakes Cody's hand and gives him a hug, and the look on Cody's face said it all. The look on Cody's face was the look of someone who got everything they had worked for the last year taken away from them. But Cody still tried to put on a brave face. He still tried to smile and, be professional. And then Cody leaves the ring, and then The Rock and Roman go face to face as the show goes off the air. I didn't watch it live. I found out about it the next morning. And then once I watched that and saw it all go down, I said, you motherfuckers can't be serious.
How much could this get worse? We go from, it's bad enough that CM Punk got hurt at the Royal Rumble, right? And he had to take time off because his tricep. And now you see this, where here's the thing. What kind of like throws me off about how like you guys, us as wrestling fans, we have our opinion. Okay, we do. It's been back and forth. Oh, we want The Rock, we want Cody. It's basic common sense. And the thing that I find offensive is how, like, oh, this is the reason why us wrestling fans are toxic. No. Here's the thing. that offends me. You guys have been building up Cody trying to finish his story for about a good year and a half now. You have him win the Royal Rumble. And now all of a sudden you go back to your old ways where you have an up and coming potential star, face of the company, and now he's going to drop that for somebody, no offense, to somebody who's really not wrestling anymore, part-timer or whatnot, you could say. Going back to your old ways. I tweeted this about a few days ago. I said that if Cody would have won at last year's WrestleMania, which he should have had, right? I would have been perfectly fine with doing The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, even though it hasn't been confirmed yet. But it looks like it's heading to that direction. If they would have had Cody Rhodes to win last year at WrestleMania, I would have been fine with Rock versus Roman. But no, you had to kind of like set all this confusion, screw it all up. You're going to put Cody Rhodes in a situation where he won the Royal Rumble. And like you said, yeah, he pointed to Roman Reigns right after that match to make it very obvious of what we thought it was going to happen. But no, you had to pull a swerve and, we're going to put The Rock in it, just screwing up everything else. Screwing up the plan, the right plan to do things right. That's what upsets me. That's what upsets everybody else. It's not about us being toxic. It's about having common sense and looking at the bigger picture of it. That's the whole thing about it. And I don't care. I don't want to hear about, The Rock will be in there, will draw so much. It'd be a huge draw. True. That's true, because The Rock is a Hall of Famer, soon to be Hall of Famer, and just a global megastar. But you got to remember something, man. There's a big difference between, doing something right and business aspect and all that stuff. There's a big difference. And you didn't do that. But then again, we don't know what's going to happen. We still don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and according to the reports, The Rock pushed for this to happen, and the TKO officials backed him up on it. And this was like his plan to like save WrestleMania because CM Punk is now out of the picture, and also Brock Lesnar's out of the picture. So that's pretty much why we saw what we saw on Friday, apparently. And I have to say, the way I felt at the end of WrestleMania last year when Cody lost is exactly how I felt when I saw that segment go down the way it did. That shit was terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Even if you wanted to do Rock and Roman, just setting it up that way was mad whack. Mad fucking whack, son.
Well, like I told you before, and it's really funny how you, like, for a year you were kind of like, man, I hope they do it right. I hope they don't screw it up, and yet here they are, just screwing it up. Funny how you've been talking about that for like almost a year now.
When we're this fucking close to, and they pretty much already set it up at the Royal Rumble, had Cody win back-to-back Royal Rumbles for the first time in 26 years. They did all that just to replace him with the fucking Rock.
Right.
And that segment, they made Seth Rollins look weak. They made Cody look weak. They made the World Heavyweight title look weak. And they made the Royal Rumble match pretty much meaningless.
Exactly. And it's funny, that whole segment alone with Rock, face to face with Roman Reigns, it got more dislikes than likes on YouTube. That shows you.
And not even just the fact that it got more dislikes than likes, it's the most disliked video WWE's ever put up on any of their social media platforms. That's the most disliked one of them all. Almost 500,000 dislikes.
Mm-hmm.
This whole move just does not make WWE come off looking good, and especially does not make The Rock coming off looking good. I've defended The Rock for years, even when he came back in 2011 and 2012, and other wrestlers were complaining about him taking the spotlight away and not being in it for the right reasons, and just being in it just to like make himself look good. I defended him even during that time, but just seeing how this whole thing went down, I can't defend any of it. I can't find any justification to replace Cody, who's been working his ass off for the last year and has been the guy even without having the title. and being this close to WrestleMania to just replace him with The Rock, who has not wrestled in 11 years. And even in that last match he was in 11 years ago, wasn't very good. And he even got hurt in that match on top of that. So you're going to replace Cody, who's in his prime, who's been working a full schedule, who's been known to put on great matches throughout this last year, and who put on a great match with Roman last year at WrestleMania, even with the finish aside. You're going to replace him with The Rock, when chances are the match isn't even going to be good, but it's going to be a quick one-day money grab. And granted, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a big success financially, but the thing is, WrestleMania has already pretty much sold out, even without The Rock on the card. And WWE over this past year has done their best business they've done in years. In 2011 and 2012, it was a case you could make to bring The Rock back and put him in the main event spot because their business was not that hot back then. But right now, their roster is as stacked and loaded as ever. And as much as I love The Rock and as great as The Rock was, we do not need him for WrestleMania to be in the main event. We do not need him.
We just said that a couple weeks ago. How about he's not needed? And that's a good point that you made, how, literally like a couple months ago, WrestleMania was in full swing and headed into the right direction because you had CM Punk coming back in a potential main event spot, and knowing that Cody is going to be Cody versus Roman. So you knew that, oh my God, like, this is good. I said that this is going to be like the biggest WrestleMania ever. And look, I get that CM Punk is here, despite all that. And with the situation with Vince and Brock Lesnar, I get all that. But at the same time, you still don't get off course of what you're still trying to do. Do not screw up Cody versus Roman, which should have been. Like I said, if Cody would have won last year, what should have happened, then I would have been okay with Rock versus Roman for this year. But because of what the decision that they did last year, you pretty much have no choice to okay, we got to, redeem ourselves and actually do what is right for this year and not screw it up. I mean, here they are screwing it up. But like I said, nothing has really been confirmed yet. There's so many rumors flying around like crazy about it's 100% The Rock is going to compete, and it's going to be Rock versus Roman. But then there's some rumors saying how I don't know. But all I know is that this Thursday at T-Mobile Arena, it has been announced that there will be a WrestleMania 40 kickoff press conference, which I will be attending, which Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and I believe Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley will be there in attendance at this press conference.
Yeah, I wish I were in Vegas to be there also, but I'm glad you're getting to go. Mm-hmm. But I will say, Rock and Roman, I'm not saying isn't an appealing match, but the thing is, I wanted to see that match 2-3 years ago. Like in 2021, 22, I wanted to see that match. I craved to see that match. But it's coming to a point now where a lot of us fans, and myself included, we moved on to something else. That something else being the Cody story. And after they did what they did at the end of WrestleMania last year, I just said to myself, they have to pay this off right down the road. They can't just leave it like this. And we're so close to this year's WrestleMania. We're this close to finally paying it off and righting that wrong that happened last year. And they're just going to throw this monkey wrench into everything. Like the Rock and Roman match, I'm not saying I don't want to see, but it does not need to happen at WrestleMania this year. That spot is reserved strictly for Cody and Roman because they've kept us invested in it for the last year. They've teased us with it for the last year. But even through it all, we stuck with it. It's what most of us wanted to see. And you don't deviate from that just to give us something that we wanted 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. That shit passed, bro. That shit passed. We moved on to something else, and we moved on to someone else. And we're sticking with that.
So, this past, yesterday on Raw, because of the backlash, the negative backlash from everything, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins had a segment with each other. But before that segment even started, the crowd was chanting Rocky sucks, which honestly was not a surprise to me. But WWE was surprised. And I said to myself, he shouldn't be surprised, man. Like you saw right before Raw, everybody knew about the most disliked YouTube and just the backlash on social media from fans. And then, there was a lot of apparently fans in St. Louis were handed "We want Cody" signs at the arena. So you should not be surprised about the Rocky sucks chant. You really shouldn't. Even Cody himself, there was a report just came out just now. Cody told them that he warned them that this was going to happen.
And you could even tell what the expression on Cody's face when it all went down that like, yo, this is whack. He knew this was bullshit. And yeah, I hate to say it. I hate to say this as a Rock fan because I grew up as a Rock fan for most of my life, but it's really hard to root for him in this situation. It is really hard to be a fan of his right now.
It's selfish. It's selfish. And if the people are defending it are the ones, oh, he's a huge draw. I do not care about that. Why? It was WrestleMania was going to be a huge draw if CM Punk was not going to get hurt. Like I said before, it was a huge draw. Everybody was just head over heels talking about CM Punk when he came back, and we knew that, okay, WrestleMania is going to be the biggest ever. So you cannot say, oh my God, well, this year it's going to be bigger because, The Rock is in it and he draws more than Cody. Okay. So that you defend the right to take his title shot, his main event moment from him. I don't defend that. That right there throws me off, man. Like I said, we have an opinion, but that right there, man, that's just common sense, dude.
It looks bad because of him putting himself in the main event for WrestleMania a week after he was announced to be a part of TKO's board of directors.
Yeah, but some people are saying that, the reason why he did it is to take the attention off the Vince McMahon situation.
Yeah, it may have taken the attention off of it, but this isn't good attention either.
No, of course not.
They just think from a business sense, from the way it seems now, that this is the biggest money match they could do. It's the biggest mainstream match that they can do. But bro, those mainstream fans are not going to be there the next day.
No, they're not.
The fans that are behind Cody, the fans who've been sticking with him this last year or so, those are the fans that are going to be there in the long run. Those are the fans you need to cater to the most.
Yeah, that is a good point. What you just said, man. Just the mainstream fans, because they're going to be there for that one night, and then guess where they're going to be at tomorrow? Gone.
Just like The Rock will be.
Right. That's kind of like how I was with WrestleMania 28. Like 12 years ago, because I said to myself, okay, I'm watching this because The Rock is back. But then again, there were other matches that, led me to order that pay-per-view, which I've told that story in the past. And I said to myself, okay, this is like a one night thing. After this, I'm going to go back and, not watch it anymore. But then, the whole story, how that went down. But yeah, but it's kind of similar to that. Yeah, very similar to that. And it's like, oh, I'm just here for that one night. I'm going to be gone. Because I knew that The Rock, after that night, The Rock was going to be gone. It wasn't like he was going to, be there full time again. But with this situation, it's like you're just thinking about, oh, it's going to be a huge draw. Yeah, just for that one night. Think long term, not short term. Your long term investment is Cody, which you've been doing for a year and a half now. That what angers me. That what throws me off the most is how you've been building this whole thing up for about a good year and a half. About him finishing his story and then, falling, he gets to the top, but then he falls down. But then that whole year he just had to scratch and claw his way back up to the top. And now he finally gets to that moment. He wins the Royal Rumble again. And, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to take your main event spot. All that stuff was for nothing.
And this is the same shit they were doing for years under Vince, where they would have a popular superstar or popular angle that they were running that was like one of the hottest things the entire year. And then once WrestleMania comes around, that popular star or popular angle gets pushed to the side in favor of the part-timers.
Yep.
In 2012, I'll give it a pass with the Rock and Cena stuff. Even though Punk had a great year, I give that one a pass. It makes sense. It was the first Rock and Cena match, so that one I can let go. But then the next year, when they did the rematch
Mhm.
after Punk had been the champion for over a year, that's the one where like Punk had a real legit case to be pissed off.
True, and at that time, I was younger at the time. I didn't really have much to say about it. I didn't really know what to think of that leading up to that Mania. But when I look back at it now, like how everybody else is saying, that match should have been a triple threat match. And I said to myself, man, was it the right thing to have Punk to lose to Rock at that Royal Rumble that year? And yeah, they should have did things differently that year.
Honestly, the real main event of that WrestleMania was the Punk and Cena number one contenders match they had on Raw a few weeks before.
Yeah.
That's the main
Oh
event.
man.
That's the main event we should have gotten at WrestleMania that year. Because I told you, I was in that stadium. That Rock and Cena match was not it, bro. I know The Rock got hurt in the middle of it. I'll give you that. But just as a whole, that match just really wasn't that great compared to the first one.
Oh no,
And
no.
also, not even just that. I was good with just seeing that match once because they called their match at WrestleMania 28 once in a lifetime for a reason. And then they gave it that tagline just to do a fucking rematch the next year.
Right. Right. Absolutely right.
That year is another example. And another example I can think of is 2017 when Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho had probably one of the best storylines the whole year. And their match at WrestleMania should have been for the title. But they had Kevin Owens lose the title in a minute to Goldberg and had Goldberg and Brock Lesnar for the title when it didn't need it. And they had Jericho and Kevin Owens,
Nope.
which is one of the hottest angles the whole year, as the fucking second match.
All right. That match should have been for the title.
Yes, that match should have been for the title. It should have been on later. And Jericho's even admitted himself the fact that that match got pushed so down the card for WrestleMania that year was what motivated him to want to leave.
Man.
Because the character work he was doing that year with the whole list thing, and then did that whole
Yeah.
festival of friendship angle and all that. It's like, bro, that match deserved a lot more than it got at WrestleMania that year.
Oh yeah. That was one of the hottest angles of that year, and that's funny that segment that Festival of Friendship was in Vegas. How funny was that? And
Yes, it was.
I don't know. I have this gut feeling. Like I said, we don't know anything yet. Not till Thursday. We don't know. That's the thing. And Cody last night tweeted that how I appreciate the passion. God bless you guys. But trust me. And I'm like, they know, he knows, and everybody else knows something that we don't know. I feel like they're kind of like fooling us right now. And another thing I want to add is how I feel like they're kind of gonna do something what they did 10 years ago with Daniel Bryan, kind of similar how with the Batista situation. And I'm not saying but that was Batista's fault at that
No,
time.
it
They
wasn't.
kind of put him in a very awkward situation. He comes back, he wins the Royal Rumble out of nowhere. Make things worse, Daniel Bryan wasn't even in the Royal Rumble match to begin with. And you had Batista win. The crowd hated it. And it was just a very awkward situation. I felt bad for Batista to be put in that situation because he didn't deserve that. He really didn't.
No, we didn't. That's another example of like one of those years where Daniel Bryan had the best year. He was the number one dude in the company, and they pushed him aside in favor of Batista, who had been gone for 4 years, to have a match with Randy Orton that nobody wanted.
No, some people were saying, "Oh, it was going to be Batista versus Orton." I'm like, dude, no, no,
I was
please
hearing
don't
the
do
same thing
that.
at the time before it even happened.
No, oh my God, did they learn their mistake from 5 years prior? Dude, Triple H versus Randy Orton was a snooze fest. What do you think Batista? No offense, but what do you think Batista and Randy Orton would be any better?
Yeah, I had heard those rumors also before the Royal Rumble, and then when it happened and Daniel Bryan wasn't even in the match, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? That was like one of those nights where I was legit like boiling at WWE, where I like was almost thinking about not watching anymore because they pissed me off so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I'm sorry. And it's funny how like, just WWE in general has just been getting a lot of, attention ratings now over the past couple of months. And you get this, man. And this was before, The Rock had made his decision and all that stuff. And I don't want to hear that crap. Oh, he's going to be a huge draw, bro. The company as a whole, TV, just attention, period, has been getting so much attention for a while now. I don't want to hear. I'm not defending that crap with what some fans are saying. Well, The Rock is a huge. I kind of like infuriates me when I hear stuff like that. Cody
Right.
Rhodes is not a huge draw. I'm like that. You don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, you're just a mainstream fan.
Yeah, you want to know why it infuriates you like it infuriates me? Because most of those people don't fucking watch regularly. They're only watching now because
Right.
The Rock's back, because it's popular, it's getting attention. But yo, this whole past year as a loyal
Yep.
wrestling fan has been very rewarding because the product has been as hot as ever and as great as ever without relying on the fucking part timers from back in the day.
Thank you. And that is, I believe now. Well, not now, but I think for the past, 10 years, several years now, it's becoming a mortal sin in wrestling. I hope you record this and you put like you add that in there, man, because I believe that it's become a mortal sin. Like it's funny during the Attitude Era and during the Ruthless Aggression era, we didn't. I don't recall the company relying on past talent. Like, oh my God, we need Hulk. Oh, we need Roddy Piper to fill in and all that stuff. Like, no. Occasionally, they'll come in. That's cool. But like, oh, we need them to replace this up and coming guy. I didn't see stuff like that. Did you?
I'll say this. I remember, like, for WrestleMania, let's say WrestleMania 19 being one example, they brought back the part-timers like the Hogans, the Austins, the Rocks, and all that. But the thing is, in a way, they didn't really take spots away from the main guys who've been around all year, because even with those guys back, the main event on the show was still Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. Even though they brought those part-timers back, those part-timers didn't take away from the full-timers, really.
No, didn't. No, absolutely not. Like, just even in Attitude Era, like you didn't bring back, past wrestlers or part time guys.
This is what happened on SmackDown. What happened on SmackDown would be the equivalent of Austin winning the Royal Rumble in 1998, or The Rock himself winning the Royal Rumble in 2000 and giving that spot away to Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened on SmackDown Friday was the equivalent of.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't wait for Thursday. And it's funny, just early, we just first started, bro. It's Super Bowl week here in Vegas, and the vibes in the city are, I can't describe it. It's just is absolutely amazing that we're having a Super Bowl here in Vegas for the first time, and then you have the press conference going on. So yeah, I'm very excited about all of this, and I can't wait to attend it. I'm gonna dig into this, do some journalism work and dig into it, and be a part of it and find out what's going on and what's gonna happen. The who, what, where, and when.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny that The Rock, when he was in his prime, was like known to be one of the most unselfish people for being a top guy. Even in 2000, when he was at his peak, in most of his pay-per-view matches, he lost more than he won. Even his main events at WrestleMania,
Mhm.
he's main evented WrestleMania 5 times. He's only won one of them, and that was the first one with Cena.
Yeah, it's another crazy fact. So the championship main events that he was a part of, right, in WrestleMania.
Yeah, he never won a championship match at WrestleMania. But yeah, back then, like I never saw Shawn Michaels lose that much when he was
Mhm.
a top guy. I never saw Bret Hart lose that much when he was a top guy, or Austin, Hogan, especially not. Yeah, Rock was one of those few top guys I watched throughout my lifetime of watching wrestling who was very generous in that regard and very unselfish.
Yeah, kind of like Undertaker.
Yeah, kind of like Undertaker, Jericho, even Ric Flair. I'll throw in there too for being unselfish in that way.
Okay.
Yeah, but just this move, especially if he really was the one who pushed for it, this was very selfish and very tone deaf too. As somebody who's been a part of the business for years and as someone who grew up in the business with his family being a part of it, this was a very tone deaf move.
I tell you what, listen, I'm not for about what's been going on. One thing I'm definitely against is the fact that The Rock's daughter, Ava Johnson, is beginning death threats because of it. That I do not condone. I get that we're upset about what's been going on, but there's no justification for you to send death threats to anybody.
Especially the dude's daughter who has nothing to do with it. That's where wrestling fans get the
Right.
reputation for being toxic, is bullshit like this.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
look, you can be mad at WWE, you could be mad at The Rock, they deserve it, but his daughter and anybody else has nothing to do with it. And to take it out on them and to send her, especially, or anybody else death threats over this is some clown ass shit. And you all need to knock it off.
I haven't heard anybody like say call out the ones that are like sending death threats to somebody like that. That's uncalled for, man. At the end of the day, it's entertainment, man. It's entertainment, and like I said, they know something that we don't know.
And even Sami Zayn put up a tweet the other day talking about the fact that people are so upset about this wrestling drama when there are far bigger issues in the world to be concerned about. And he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong in that
Oh no,
regard. I remember because like one example I use is the night of WrestleMania after Cody lost. I was very pissed off. It felt like a huge punch to the gut. But then in the press conference after WrestleMania, I found out there's a little girl who danced for Bianca Belair for her entrance at WrestleMania. Her
oh
mom
yeah,
died that same day. So
right,
I was
right.
like, bro, it sucks that it ended the way it did the show, but at the end of the day, there's bigger issues in the world than the ending of a wrestling match or a wrestling
Yeah,
angle.
I remember that.
But with that aside, that still does not change the fact that this is some whack ass shit.
Yeah,
And I never thought I would have to do this, but The Rock has given me no choice. So I've had to express my frustrations with The Rock in this decision in a verse. So I'm going to break that down for y'all right now. Rocky sucks, now the words you're gonna hear the people chant. Hollywood Rock taking over, no longer the people's champ. Saving WrestleMania, you say is why you pulled this. Smell what the Rock is cooking, but it smells like bullshit. Being at the top spot, already a place you've been. Cody's earned it now, and you took it all away from him. Say it's for the people, but all of it's a lie to me. Your politicking's no better than Hogan's was in 93. Left the wrestling world behind, turned into a movie star. To see you win this match is less appealing than your movies are. This move is just crazy dumb. Ego's on a crazy run. All the fans in Philly should just boo you out the stadium. No holding punches, mean every word I rap at him. Sabotaging Cody's year like he did to Black Adam. No vocal minority, a message coming from the millions. Die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Product fell off when you left. Now it's on the best of highs. Thinking that we need you back, you're about to get surprised. A platform to express myself, I will always exercise. If you are the people's champ, you'll do what's right and step aside. Jabroni.
that's a good point. That you said how about calls himself the people's champion, but not doing something for the people.
Yeah, I just like that line I said where I said, left the wrestling world behind, turned into a movie star. To see you win this match is less appealing than your movies are. Because I'll be honest, I don't like most of his movies.
There's only a couple of movies that I like, just a couple. That says a lot. It's funny how we could admit, let's admit, despite this drama going on, it has gained a lot of attention, and most notably, it's gained attention, just of fans of all places. Even it got attention of George Kittle, the tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, because last night, they had their Super Bowl media day, and reporter asked him about what he thought about the whole entire situation. So I've always loved George Kittle because he's a huge wrestling fan. So, but yeah, he stated his opinion about the situation. He feels like like, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. They may pull a swerve. They may have him where he's like probably the special guest referee. We don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen. That is why I cannot wait for Thursday. And thank God the press conference is free. Thank God it's free, because when I saw the announcement, I was like, oh, cool, they're gonna have a press conference here, and I was like, free? I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going. We'll be there.
We don't know enough about this yet, and nothing's been official. But just from what we saw on Friday, it did not give us any reasons to be optimistic.
Yeah. Like I said, they know something that we don't know.
But I will say, WrestleMania is still over 2 months away, and they still have time to make this right if they are going in the direction I think they are going in. They still have time to turn it around.
Another thing that bothers me is how they're really, like I said, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's like they're kind of like promoting, oh, we'll have Cody versus Seth. Dude, in the past year and a half, Cody Rhodes has beaten Seth Rollins clean 3 times. You want to do Cody versus Seth for the title. And if he wins, it's not going to feel special, which doesn't make any sense to me. It's not going to feel as special. Dude, they had a feud already. Cody's beaten him 3 times. So why would you want to do another match? Like, why would you even think about that? We're talking about, Cody, but like, we're kind of like with CM Punk being gone, like, man, what are they going to do about Seth? That's another question.
There's plenty of people Seth can work with. Seth and Drew McIntyre, they can do. I said that on the show last week. Seth and Drew McIntyre, they both get their WrestleMania main event. They both win.
True. And Drew's
been doing his best work. Drew's been doing his best work.
Especially yesterday. You saw that t-shirt he wore?
Yeah, putting a peace sign in front of the tombstone and the gravesite of CM Punk's WrestleMania main event run.
Oh my God.
2024 through 2024.
That shit, that low key pissed me off. Ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, what was also good though was the video he put up last week of him like at the gym. He's like saying, "Yeah, you can't forget tricep day, or else you're gonna have problems." Wink, wink.
Oh no! See, yeah, I like what he's doing. It's heel work, but yeah, that pissed me off, man.
Just like I say, Cody of like last year and now reminds me of like Shawn Michaels in 95, 96. This Drew McIntyre reminds me of like late 95, beginning of 96 Diesel. Yeah, when he was like a tweener after that Survivor Series match, when he was like a tweener for a while until he officially turned. Yeah, that's exactly what Drew reminds me of now.
Mm-hmm.
And another comparison to Kevin Nash back then, their contracts were also up after WrestleMania.
Right.
He hasn't resigned yet, so we don't know.
Same thing with Finn Balor.
Yeah, that both of their contracts were up after WrestleMania, so it could go either way. Hopefully this is a swerve. Hopefully this is going to lead to something even bigger. But regardless, putting Cody in any other match at WrestleMania besides the match against Roman for the championship is a demotion and not using him to his full potential for last year he's had.
That is a strong word. That is word of the day. That is a strong demotion. Oh, my God.
No offense.
Word of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
No offense to that World Heavyweight title and all that, but putting him in that match is a demotion compared to having him in the match with Roman. I'm sorry, it is.
It is true. And then I'm hearing that silly rumor how they're gonna, they may do Cody versus Seth at Mania, and then they may have him finally do Cody versus Roman at SummerSlam and then unify the titles. Like, why the hell will you unify the titles?
When you just made a new one last year because you wanted to keep the title on Roman for another year, and since he's part-time, you guys were forced to make another title.
Right. That makes no sense.
But like I said, a lot of this is hearsay. It could be happening, it could not be happening, but all we can go by is what we saw on SmackDown Friday, and that shit was bad, and that shit gave us every reason to be pissed off, and every reason to be concerned, and every reason to get even more behind Cody than we already were.
Yeah. Hashtag we want Cody. Strong.
Hashtag we want Cody and hashtag Rocky sucks. Which pains me to say, but in this situation, he does.
It's funny because during the Seth and Cody segment, right, when the crowd was chanting Rocky sucks, Michael Cole he said something very funny. He's like, is it 1996? All over again. I was like, yeah.
But according to PW Insider, if there is one silver lining that can come out of this, and it will be interesting if it does happen, is that The Rock on screen is going to turn heel.
I heard about that.
In all honesty, at this point, he would have no other choice because he is not the good guy in this situation. Nobody in their right mind is going to cheer him over Cody in this situation.
Hell no.
And keyword right mind, not the part-time fans, not the fair weather fans, the legit fans who know what's up and no bullshit when they see it.
Right. So yeah, I made good chance I'm gonna boo The Rock on Thursday.
Yeah, because I'll say this. The Rock moved on from wrestling, and that was his prerogative to go do acting and become a mainstream superstar and all that jazz. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy he accomplished that. But just like he moved on from wrestling, wrestling also moved on from him. And by this move, if he really was the one behind it, he has shown that he does not understand that. And if he's going to be a part of TKO, the board of directors, and be a part of it more full time in that regard, he needs to get a clue about things like this.
The business has changed.
Yeah, the business has changed, the audience has changed, and bro, he doesn't have that same magic touch that he did before. He's still popular, people still cheer for him, but bro, this is not 1999 in Philly when you main evented your first WrestleMania. This is 2024.
Yep. A lot has changed.
And this move was some Hulk Hogan type shit. This is some real that doesn't work for me, brother type shit.
Yeah.
But hopefully this is a swerve. Hopefully I won't have to use this disc for The Rock too much going forward. But if it's not, and if it is true that he's letting his ego run wild, then I'm going to spit that verse as often as I can and call him out as often as I can because it's very disappointing to see it come to this. It really is.
We're in for the long haul, man. All I know, that's all I have to say. We're in for the long one. And yeah, I can't wait for Thursday, and we gotta wait and find out. And you know, the cool thing about this press conference, it is going to be live on Peacock, so it must be a very important press conference.
Yeah, very important. Definitely. I'm going to probably be working, but I'll definitely catch the highlights of it. The one thing with The Rock is that his reputation's kind of been looking not the best the last few years, considering the whole Black Adam fiasco and then the XFL being a flop and all the beefs he was having, like on the set of the Fast and Furious movies with like Vin Diesel. I think him and Tyrese had a problem too. And apparently, like it's in his contract for his movies that he can't take like a certain amount of punches and kicks and he can't ever lose a fight. I don't know if you ever heard that, but I actually just came across that yesterday.
No, that part. No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, like considering that and the shit with Black Adam, where apparently he went over like a bunch of producers' heads, like their superiors, to try to get ideas approved, and like he like really caused a bunch of issues for like the process of that movie, and that's why I guess like people didn't take to it or whatever. And now with WWE, if it's to believe that he was behind this move, he's alienating WWE's fans too, the one group of fans who brought him to where he is today in the first place.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, I mean, he had a lot going on, business wise and all that stuff. But still, I mean, we both said that he's gonna get back on his feet. The whole like the board of directors thing. I thought, oh, that's cool for him and all that. But and nice, good gig, and I believe the XFL and the USFL. I think they had a merger with each other, so all is well. But yeah, this was before all this fiasco happened, and
Also, to add to that, that shit with Oprah, or him and Oprah asking people like to donate money for some like tragedy or like some like wildfire that happened or something, and like a lot of people came for them for that because they're fucking billionaires and they're asking other people to give out money, like other people who have like less money than them. Yeah, so he kind of came off bad in that too. Yeah, like these last few years, like kind of haven't been painting him in the best light compared to before.
I don't know, man. All I have to say is that outside of that, everybody has their own, propaganda and situation and whatnot. But all I know is inside of this universe, this world, the wrestling world, as I'm talking about, there's something that we don't know. And I guarantee you, after Thursday, how we're feeling may be the complete opposite of how we're feeling right now. So that's all I have to say. You just got to wait till Thursday. So, because there's something that we don't know.
Yeah, but we'll see how it all plays out. But until then, I stand by the things I said.
Yeah.
But also on SmackDown, despite this controversial way that it ended, there was one bright light to the show, and that was Bayley's decision of who she would be facing for the women's title at WrestleMania. But before she would go out for this segment, she would come to overhear Io Sky tell Asuka and Kairi saying, Bayley's done tonight. And as they were saying this and laughing, they didn't realize that Bayley was standing right behind them and heard the whole thing.
This is literally reminiscent of the Evolution storyline with Batista going on in 2005.
Yep,
I liked it though.
Exact same vibes. Exact same vibes. And guess who was a part of that storyline? Guess who was a part of that storyline? The current head of creative.
Oh, Triple H.
Yeah, so apparently was overruled in this whole thing with The Rock. That's not a good look.
What?
Yeah, so like now with The Rock's power, he can overrule like some of Triple H's creative ideas. Damn, who would have ever thought in real life Triple H would be the baby face and The Rock would be the heel? Crazy how times have changed.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that hasn't happened since like '98. So
I'm talking about in real life.
I know in real life though, but like actually, I mean, there was at one point where Triple H was the baby face and Rock was the heel. So that was '98. So
yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, we get to the ring and Bayley's like toying around with her decision, talking about how the main event of WrestleMania and being in that spot is all about proving people wrong. Even if some of those people you need to prove wrong are the people you thought were your friends. And then she turns to Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Io, and then she asks them if they're done laughing, and then she drops a huge bomb on them as she just starts speaking Japanese out of nowhere. So this whole fucking time, Bayley knew Japanese and she knew all the shit that they were like talking about her behind her back. So looks like she's been onto them this whole time, and then she's cutting a promo on them saying, we were all good, and so Asuka and Kairi Sane joined the group. You changed, you switched up on me, and then they attacked her from behind. All three of them were triple teaming her. But as Bayley was at the post, she grabbed a pipe, and then she used the pipe to start beating down Kairi Sane and Asuka. And as she was going to hit Io Sky with it, Io Sky also had the belt up at the same time. They both paused. Io Sky backs out of the ring, and then Bayley says, about my announcement, I'll see you at WrestleMania. So it's on, bro. It's on.
As I predicted, as we all predicted, the right person.
And the right angle, too. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this angle for the next few months.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Still curious of what they're going to do with Rhea Ripley, though, I believe. So still holding on. They'll do Becky versus Rhea Ripley. So
more than likely, considering that Becky qualified for a number one contenders elimination chamber match after beating Shayna Baszler last night. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Becky wins the chamber, and it's going to be Becky and Rhea at WrestleMania, especially considering that they've been kept apart for the last year and they've been the two faces of the Raw division, and also considering the fact that Becky's book comes out like 2 weeks before WrestleMania.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense to put her in a title match if her book's going to be out around the time.
You know what? I think the one thing when it comes to both women's titles, the one thing that I'm hoping for the most, I know the matches are going to be good. I just want a good build-up. They have not done well on their build-ups in the past few years at WrestleManias. They don't have a good build-up, but their matches will be good. So for this year, I want to see a little more of the opposite. I know the match is going to be good. I just want to see a good build-up.
That's one thing I will say. It's still 2 months away, but the Bayley and Io build-up is already better than the build-ups were for both women's title matches at WrestleMania last year. And we probably haven't even seen the best of it yet, and it's already better than both of those.
Right.
Yeah, the only complaint I had with this whole segment was I thought they were going to like do this split maybe a little later. I was fine with it. It was great. I enjoyed it. Like everybody's like so pissed off about what happened at the end of the show, when I get it, but even with the shit you get pissed off about, you shouldn't let it keep you from enjoying the shit on the show that was actually good.
Outside of it, outside of the things, there's, they're still light and there are good things, and that was one of them, that segment.
It's on for those two at WrestleMania, and also SmackDown's women's division has received two new signees, including Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. So I think that should give them a nice. I think that should give them a nice shot in the arm. I think it should definitely spice things up for them. And Jade Cargill and Braun Breaker were also there, kind of shopping around, seeing if SmackDown's a nice fit for them. So we'll see where they end up. But yeah, those are two good pickups for SmackDown. The women's division, I think, is going to be a lot stronger now there with those two.
Yeah. Still waiting on still waiting on freaking Sasha Banks. See what will happen.
I think she's probably going to end up in AEW at this point. I feel like if she was going to come back to WWE, she would have came back by the Royal Rumble. But when it didn't happen there, I just said to myself, yeah, she's probably going to AEW, or she's probably going to maybe stay in Japan for longer. Yeah, she doesn't really need to come back right now. I think she could still do her own thing outside of WWE for a while, build her name outside of it, and then whatever, come back in another 2-3 years, whichever happens, and yeah, we'll see what happens then. But yes, it is official as of last night on Raw. Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax will be facing each other for the women's title at Elimination Chamber in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that from the get-go, and that was a match that I've been wanting to see like for a while, especially when Nia Jax came back. So yeah, they're finally doing a match, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I think more than likely the crowd's going to be 100% behind Rhea Ripley.
Of course.
So the perfect opponent for her to go against if the crowd's going to be that behind her is Nia Jax, because Nia Jax, the one thing she's good at is getting the crowd to boo the shit out of her. That's one of her best assets, is get the crowd to hate her. She's very good at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm happy in the position that she's in right now. This push that she's getting, I loved it. I absolutely love it. So they haven't gotten off course with her since she's been back. I love it.
And I'll be honest, I feel like she's been way better since she came back. I've noticed a huge improvement in her as a character and also her ring work ever since she's been back. Yeah, she's definitely gotten better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why they're still on course with her. So I love that, man. And I hope they keep it rolling after this.
Yeah, maybe they could do her and Bianca at WrestleMania.
Where's that going to leave? I wonder where that leaves Jade.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about it last week on the show that Jade Cargill and Bianca had that confrontation in the Royal Rumble, although very brief. Mm-hmm. They stood face to face before it got interrupted. And yeah, there was pictures of them backstage at the Royal Rumble, hanging out with each other, taking pictures with Titus O'Neil. Jade Cargill was also at the premiere for Bianca Montez's reality show the next day. So they could end up either being opponents at WrestleMania or being a tag team at WrestleMania.
I'm for it, either or.
The tag team thing might be a better idea for now because, Jade's still not that experienced and she might need more time. So being in a tag team would make it easier for her. And Bianca and Jade Cargill as a team, that shit would be interesting. They could have a match with Asuka and Kyrie for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that, but we'll see. Did you get a chance to check out Bianca and Montez's reality show?
I have not.
I watched a little bit of it. It's cool. It's kind of very similar to Miz and Mrs., like the Miz and Maurice one.
I'm kind of getting those vibes. Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I'll say this much from what I watched of it. Bianca puts a lot on her damn plate.
Of course. I mean, come on now. If you're a wrestler, and especially if you're top of your game, of course the schedule is very busy. That's not a surprise to me. So.
But for her, it's even more with the fact that she does a full-time schedule with WWE. She fucking designs and makes her own outfits. She did that bodybuilding competition. They were really going behind the scenes of all of that. And wow. It's a lot, bro. Yeah, it's a lot.
No wonder she took some time off. Well needed.
Yeah, she was falling asleep in the makeup chair at certain points.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I kind of feel for Montez because the one thing they follow throughout the show is how Bianca has a guaranteed match at WrestleMania, but he's still trying to find where he fits in at WrestleMania, or if he's even gonna have a match. Yeah. So he has that kind of doubt in himself and doubt of where his career is going.
Dude, I hope that one day, hopefully, his singles career will start on track. I was hoping that was gonna happen last year though, but just I saw a lot of potential in that guy, a lot. So it's most likely that once they, give the green light, I feel like he'll do good.
I'm sure he'll do very well. He has the charisma, he has the look, he has great matches. Yeah, he has what it takes to be a top guy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just hope he gets that chance. I just really hope he gets that chance.
I believe he will.
Yeah, but I like the vibe I get from both of them. That's the one thing I'll say about that show. I like the vibe that they both have together. Like I don't like to use the word relationship goals, but they would be an example of that. Where like nobody's trying to outdo each other. Nobody's trying to say, "Oh, I make more money than you. Oh, I'm better at this than you. Oh, I'm better than that. Oh, you should be a masculine man. You should be a feminine man. Submit, provide." Yin, 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 yin. They're just happy together and enjoy each other's company. It should just be so fucking simple. But unfortunately, people don't make it so simple. But let's give an update on the recent Vince McMahon allegations as it's coming out from Janelle Grant's lawyer that her like inbox is being flooded with other women who want to come forward and talk about their experiences with Vince and all the things that have gone down, which could be a power play, which could be just something to make Vince McMahon and everybody sweat to maybe give a big settlement out to like make this thing go away. But according to Janelle Grant, she
Mm.
like wants justice to be served and wants Vince to be punished in the way that he deserves to be punished.
One thing that I did hear, like, so they took Brock Lesnar off the 40 years of WrestleMania poster for WWE 2K24, which is no surprise.
Yeah, I heard about that. We even talked about it last week that his spot in the Royal Rumble went to Braun Breaker, and he was supposed to have a match with Dominic at
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber, and then he was supposed to face Gunther at WrestleMania, but
Mhm.
yeah, he's out and possibly not coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, the whole the video game cover thing, yeah, wasn't a surprise to me. So
Also, John Laurinaitis' lawyer gave a statement to Vice. Basically, according to the statement, John Laurinaitis claims that he's a victim, just like Janelle Grant was a victim. Basically, from what he said, he's throwing Vince under the bus.
oh wow.
And that he was power controlled and manipulated by Vince McMahon. But if he's admitting this, that gives the girl's case credibility. Like if he's openly admitting that the things in the lawsuit happened, then yeah, that gives her a lot of credibility. And if he's willing to say this so far, imagine what other information he's willing to give away just to make it lighter on him. Yeah, it's not looking good. Yeah, it was one of his fucking stooges for all those years is now singing on him.
Yep. It's kind of like in New Jack City when Nino Brown was in court and he kind of like threw everybody in the rug, under the rug. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh man.
Or Nicky Barnes in real life. That Nicky Barnes dude, yeah, he told on everybody. He ended up in witness protection.
Oh yeah. Mm.
It gets even worse in the sense that apparently the NDAs that Vince had drawn up without WWE's knowledge. And also, he stopped paying some of the NDAs, which made them null and void. And basically, the main reason that Janelle Grant lady pretty much filed the lawsuit, one of the main reasons is because Vince stopped paying her on the NDA. And apparently, the other ones he had signed were also not valid. So those could be coming out against him too.
Wow. No word on a trial date. No.
It hasn't gotten that far yet, but he is under federal investigation.
Yeah, as I heard.
If he gets indicted, then yeah, it's going to go to trial. It's so crazy that 30 years ago this year, actually, he beat the federal government when they tried to put him in prison for the steroid shit. And he's been like rubbing it in their face ever since. And now, 30 years later, this shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say, his reputation is fucked. There's no amount of money in the world that could ever buy him that back. Yeah, his reputation is fucked until the end of time. Yeah, who would have ever thought that it would go down like this? Like, who would have ever thought that for all the years Vince was so powerful and Vince was like seemingly untouchable that he would go out like this? Fucking A.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah, but imagine if it does go to trial, like, and yeah, he does get found guilty.
Oh, no, no, no. I wouldn't be surprised.
But I don't feel bad for him, bro, or Laurinaitis, because these motherfuckers are doing this foul shit for years and using their power to fuck with
Mhm.
people and fuck with people who couldn't do anything back. Like, never mind the stuff we feel about the product and all that. Yeah, like just this kind of bullshit. A real leader, a real person you should be able to look up to doesn't pull that kind of shit.
No, absolutely not.
And it's so crazy. Fucking Laurinaitis initially got demoted from being the head of talent relations in 2012 because of sexual misconduct allegations. And then almost a decade later, they re-promoted him to that position just for this shit to come out about him again.
Mm.
Yeah, Laurinaitis did Vince's bidding for years. Like Laurinaitis would basically like look for girls in like, you know, lingerie catalogs or like Victoria's Secret catalogs and get them to become wrestlers.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think I remember you were telling me about that.
Yeah, his reputation speaks for itself for being a creep. But I just feel bad for the Garcia twins and their mom in this whole situation because I know it's got to also be embarrassing for them.
Yeah, yeah. You said that.
I don't know how much longer she's going to stay married to him after all this, but that's their business. But yeah, that dude's also going out in disgrace. And he deserves to.
Yeah, without question.
On to something more positive, guess who's a big fan of Rhea Ripley?
I don't know who.
Bret the Hitman Hart is a big fan of Rhea Ripley. And this is what he had to say about her.
Hmm.
I really like her a lot. I really like her poise. Seems like she's adapted a character that's fun to play, and she's playing it into that full tilt. She's putting that realism into it. That's what I miss in a lot of wrestling today. Just making it feel more real, and she makes it feel pretty real all the time.
That's interesting. That's kind of like the first time I heard Brett talk highly about anybody. I haven't really heard Brett had a favorite current star, but that's the first time I heard, so that's good.
Yeah, and he's right about Rhea. She's like one of those real authentic characters from like her look, her outfits, the makeup, the way she wrestles. Yeah, she's the full package. The music.
That's what I'm saying. And she gets pops too, man. Like, come on now. Like, she's like the leader of the Judgment Day, dude. Like, come on. Everybody's, oh, who's the leader? Who's the leader? She's the leader. She has that role like China did back in the day. So,
She's the leader of the Judgment Day, the same way Griselda Blanco was the leader of her organization,
yep.
ruling it with an iron fist that you can
Hmm.
fuck your ass up with. Yeah, but it's nice to see Bret show love to some of the newer generation. I know he's been critical of the newer generation in the past, and even most recently, also critical of the newer generation with comments talking about how at coming back from a wrestling match, you shouldn't come back from it, beat up and hurt, and not being able to walk and all that jazz, and just talking about how like that kind of wrestling is Bill Goldberg type wrestling. You shouldn't be doing that. Always taking shots at Goldberg, bro.
Funny, he's forgiven Sean and Vince about the Montreal screw job, but that match that he had with Goldberg Starcade looks like he hasn't forgiven for that, man.
Yeah, I get that it led to the end of his career, and I could see him being upset about that. I get it, but there's just only so long you could be mad at people for that kind of shit. I mean, look at Big E's situation.
Yeah.
Big E got hurt in that match with Riddick Moss, and he doesn't blame Riddick Moss for it. He doesn't hold a grudge against Riddick Moss for it. It was a fucking accident. It sucked that it happened. I
Yeah.
dude made a mistake, but he didn't do it with the intent to put you out that way.
It's wrestling, man. It's not ballet. I mean, stuff happens. It was an accident. So,
Fucking Darren Drozdov got paralyzed in a match with D'Lo Brown, and he didn't hold any grudge against D'Lo for it.
yep.
They were friends, I believe, up until the day he died last year.
Yeah, I think that's a part of Brett needs to get over with, if I'm being quite honest. If you could forgive Sean and Vince about what happened, you gotta have some closure with Goldberg. I know Goldberg has a reputation of his matches being unsafe, but that I think that particular incident that happened at Starkey, that was accidental. Stuff like that happens.
Yeah, Brett definitely needs to let that go. I mean, just for his own sake. Like, he doesn't have to be friends with Goldberg anymore. They don't need to exchange Christmas cards or whatever, but he should at least forgive him just for his own sake so he can
Yeah.
be at peace, move on with his life, because just certain shit isn't worth holding on to anymore. That's a main lesson I get from Cobra Kai with the whole Daniel and Johnny rivalry. Maybe you should watch that show and maybe it'll spark something up in him.
Mm.
So Bret Hart, watch some Cobra Kai. You'll learn how to not hold grudges anymore.
Do you know when the new season is going to come out?
Oh, they already started filming. The filming began like 2 weeks ago. I
Oh,
could tell because they filmed some of it here in Atlanta, and I know
hmm.
the weather was really bad a couple weeks ago here, and the weather was also really bad in the pictures I saw. So yeah, they started filming already, and it should be out sometime this year.
Okay.
So probably by like the end of the year, probably like around New Year's time, it should be out because that's usually when
Mm.
the seasons would come out before.
Okay.
Yeah, but speaking of 80s related pop culture, we had an unfortunate tragedy this past week as Carl Weathers passed away.
Oh man, yeah, I was about to mention that, man. Yeah, dude, that's very sad and unfortunate, man. Profound, major profound role in the Rocky series. He's in Predator. Happy Gilmore is another good movie that he was a part of as well, but he's mostly known for his role as Apollo Creed in Rocky movies. He had a very standout character in that film. Very sad, man, that he passed away. He was only 79 years old, and crazy. He used to be a football player, but yeah, man, he was just and also the Mandalorian series, Star Wars series that I watch on Disney Plus. He was a part of that show as well, man. But my condolences to his family and friends, and he had a very he had an impact in that Rocky series. It's funny how he started off as his Rocky's rival, and one of the things I loved about Rocky 3 is how like he motivated Rocky to get out of that funk that he was in, to give him back that edge in that movie. You know what I mean? So that I love that about that character. You know what I mean? And then the success of the Apollo Creed character that led to the Creed series with Michael B. Jordan. So that goes to show you how much of an impact of that character was.
Yeah, even Sylvester Stallone himself said that those movies would have not ever hit as hard without the Apollo Creed character and Carl Weathers playing that character. He said
Hmm.
that, yeah, those movies are not the same without him, and he is absolutely right. I think that's one of the things the fifth one was missing, especially was not having Apollo in it. But yeah, he was a huge part of why those movies were so
Yeah,
appealing.
it's them killing off Apollo's character in Rocky Four. That was a decision that to this day that Sylvester Stallone regrets.
Yeah, it just hit you so hard, especially after the third one, where they became best friends and they had like this new bond, and he dies in the ring in the middle of a fight. Yeah, it's. I think that death in a way hit me harder than Mickey's death did.
Yeah, Mickey was getting old, and it was funny. It's funny how we saw that because it was like we kind of saw the conditions early in that movie where you could tell that he's getting sick, his health is not well, and he wanted to retire and all that. He let it be known, so you kind of knew it was evident. Apollo's in Rocky Ford, I was like, whoa, you didn't see that one coming. But then again, it was funny though because I was watching. I think I told you this like a long time ago. I watched the trailer, the Rocky Ford trailer, and they already like were telling you beforehand that yeah, Apollo dies. Like what? Like in the trailer. See, like that was weirdo, but still, it was a gut punch when they killed his character off, man. And I kind of wish they would have put Carl Weathers in a Creed series. Maybe I don't know. Like I don't know how they would do that. Like maybe
Yeah, like a dream sequence.
like a dream scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. That would have been cool to did that if they would have did that, but apparently they didn't. But um,
I think it was actually based off of Muhammad Ali. I think that his character was based off of him. From what I remember.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he had that charisma, he had that cockiness, but he wasn't like a villain like the same way that Clubber Lang was a villain, and also Ivan Drago was a villain. He
no,
didn't have that vibe. Like him and
no,
Rocky, even though they were fighting each other, they still had a respect for each other, and then later on, like a love and a bond for each other.
yeah. And when it's funny you say that because you look back at Rocky 2, you think, oh, Apollo Creed's the bad guy, and I didn't really. When you get older, when I look back at that, I don't really see that. It was
No,
because he was kind of like defending himself because it was kind of like people were criticizing him. Oh, the fight was fixed and blah blah blah, and he's getting scrutinized, his family's getting scrutinized for it, and he's like, wait, hold up, you know what? You just pretty much trying to prove a point. So I don't see Apollo as like the bad guy in that movie.
Neither do I. I never saw him as the bad guy. Even as a kid, I never saw him as the bad guy at all.
Yeah, true.
It was just like a Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior type vibe for me with the Rocky movies, where I had no problem with Apollo, but I just liked Rocky more. Yeah, but that fight in the second movie was fucking epic. The fight when like Rocky beats him at the end and then he raises Rocky's hand afterwards. Next to the fight with Drago and Ford, that's one of my favorite fights in the whole series.
Yeah, those top two were the best ones. Easily, you could say. Easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved his role in 3 where like he like just like woke Rocky up out of his funk and like just told him like, yo, you need the eye of the tiger, bro. You need the eye of the tiger, bro. And then he snaps at him in that one scene saying, there is no tomorrow, Rock. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. That kind of reminds me of that trip I took to Israel a year and a half ago. My best friend was kind of on that same vibe where he was kind of like trying to snap me out of the funk I was going through at the time and like calling me out for like the shit I was slipping up on. Yeah, that's like I always call that Israel trip my Rocky 3 trip.
Interesting.
I was running on the beach too.
Wow.
All right, but anyway, yeah, he had the Rocky series, which unfortunately ended after he died in the 4th one in very tragic fashion. Another movie he was very popularly known for was Predator, along with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. One of the most famous scenes he's in of that movie is when him and Arnold like shake hands and they have that shot of both of their biceps. It's like probably the most iconic handshake you'll ever see in any movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. That's like how I am whenever I reunite with my friends who I haven't seen in a while. You know what I mean? So
that's what's up. That's what's up.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's that vibe, man. Like that's that manly, that you can say bromance vibes that you give when you don't see somebody in a long time. Yeah, he had a profound role in that movie. And it was funny that movie, how it was made, was kind of like off the heels off of Rocky 4 because I read about it and they were saying how, because Rocky fought a Russian, you know, who will be his next fight? Like they were playing around, what if Rocky fought an alien or whatever? And they kind of like play it off of that, and that's how they made the Predator movie.
Damn.
Yeah, it was off of that. If you read about it, yeah, it's about that, dude.
I read about the process of filming the movie, and being on that location was no joke. Like they had like legit like poisonous snakes and like poisonous scorpions and other like wild animals like invade the set. Yeah, like filming movies like that are no joke, man. Like where you have to be like on set in those conditions. Fuck.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think there was one night, like during filming, that Arnold Schwarzenegger missed his rehearsal dinner for his wedding because he was like filming late, and like Maria Shriver was like pissed at him for it.
Oh, I don't remember hearing she was mad at him for it, but I know that he had to leave because he had, his wedding was during the time of him filming Predator. So I remember that. Yeah.
And they would all have contests of like waking up early in the morning, like who could wake up the earliest.
And who will work out the longest and all that stuff. Yeah. Funny.
Yeah, crazy shit. That's the movie where Jesse Ventura probably knew, like, yo, I don't need that wrestling shit anymore. I do it because I want to do it. I got it made here.
Yep.
Another person who had issues with Vince over the years.
Yep.
But another classic movie he also had was Happy Gilmore. Yo, he was hilarious in Happy Gilmore.
Oh my God, hilarious.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies, to be honest with you. And it was a switch for me with him because I had never really seen him in a comedy up until that point. But yo, he pulled it off well.
Oh, very well. I need to watch that movie again. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's on Peacock. Also, Adam Sandler put out a statement for him, telling him rest in peace, how good of a dude he was, how good of a dad he was. Yeah, he like put out a very heartfelt message for him a couple days ago.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, so rest in peace to Carl Weathers, dead at 76 years old. And yeah, his legacy and contributions will not be forgotten by us. That is a fact.
Straight fact.
Straight like an arrow. But anyway, Mr. John Randall, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about tonight, or any other last words for the former People's Champ before Thursday's press conference?
Nothing, dude. That's all. Nothing, man. I said what I needed to say. The only thing I need to do now is attend and watch, and just like you and everybody else outside of Vegas, we'll watch on Peacock and we'll find out for ourselves. And like I said before, there's something that we don't know that they know. They know something that we don't know. So we're gonna find out on Thursday. So
I'll say this in closing. If it is true that the main event is supposed to be now Roman and Rock at WrestleMania, this is the last thing I have to say to The Rock. If you really are about the people, if you really are the people's champ, if you really care about giving the people what they want, then you'll do the right thing and you'll step aside.
ooh.
And if you do that, then I will call you the people's champ again.
Mm.
But until then, if these things are true about you, you don't deserve to be called the people's champ, and you deserve to be booed in every single last arena that you step in.
He's gonna get booed at T-Mobile Arena on Thursday. I know that for a fact. So
Rocky Sucks is gonna go viral, bro. Rocky Sucks is gonna go viral like it did in '96.
mm-hmm.
Yep, it's on, bro. It's on. So Rock, just do the right thing, my dude. You know what that right thing is. You've always done the right thing throughout your career, even in your prime. You were always about doing the right thing for everybody else. Find that old version of Rock and bring him to that press conference Thursday. I know he's still there.
We have to wait and see. Thursday, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, but yes, until next time, for John Randall, this is Conscious Kurt with another edition of the Clash of the Champions. Take care, have a good one, and remember, don't be an asshole in real life or social media, and don't take other people's spots that they've earned just to stroke your own ego, because that shit
It's for the birds.
is for the birds. Have a good one, guys.